up to this point is taking a look at the Janet Travell trigger points and seeing how they correlate to the Chinese holistic system of describing the functionality of the body. Last time we did the trapezius muscle. Today we're going to look at the sternocleidomastoid. So we bring our friend in here. Sternocleidomastoid starts here on the sternum and has a little line up here on the clavicle. Then it goes up here, sorry, the line's not straight, to the mastoid process, which on her would be right about there, and then comes down along that line, and she actually has an SCM molded into her, which is nice. She doesn't have all of her muscles. So sternocleidomastoid is sort of in this area right here. Janet Travell lists a series of trigger points that start along that SCM and sort of map all along the SCM there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I might have added an extra attachment trigger point on that front head. She also maps 3 trigger points on the clavicular head, which we can kind of sort of bore out sort of like this. She has 3 trigger points that are labeled on the clavicular head. So let's look at the sternal head here first and look at the trigger points that are labeled on there. The referral zones for the trigger points on the sternal head are actually have a area here on the back of the skull there, and then a bit of the top of the skull here, and then also has a very, very thick aggressive line right here on the skull, and then has a little bit of a reference into the cheek too as well. And then there's kind of a small one here, interestingly enough, and then a little bit down there that it kind of refers to. So essentially, you can press a trigger point along the sternal head here, and you're going to create a referral pattern that actually can extend, and it actually even shows some slight connection through here. So this, all this, all this, all this, and then this very dark eye pattern here and cheek pattern are all related to trigger points that are found on the sternal head. Well, when we look at our corresponding side of our meridian here, and let me see if I can drop this a little bit and get us a better view. There we go. So here we see the meridians that it corresponds to, and it actually corresponds to multiple meridians. So the sternocleidomastoid starts up here and then runs up along the neck here, and we see 3 meridians. So the first trigger points are going to fall in the stomach, around stomach 9. The second trigger points are going to fall up here in the large intestine meridian. The other ones will fall on either the, the small intestine meridian here, this is the Sanjiao meridian here, small intestine meridian there, or the gallbladder meridian here. And if we look at our referral, we'll see that the referral zones then kind of cover those exact same areas. So this one here is the yellow, so it kind of covers in this area. This next one is our large intestine, and it goes underneath the nose. The next one is the small intestine, and it kind of covers this lateral side of the cheek. And then the Sanjiao, which goes back, remember that one up into here, it's going to catch the upper portion of that as well. And then probably not on the gallbladder now that I look at it. Probably not going to fall on the gallbladder. It's probably going to fall on those 3. But all 3 of those cover sort of these connected areas. And we see a correlation, the stomach line here, sort of that Sanjiao meridian here. The only thing is we've got this connected to the gallbladder line up on top. And we've seen already correlations where we've seen that gallbladder meridian sort of rear its ugly head in those trigger points that were found on the urinary bladder on the back side. Now, the referral zones for the clavicular head, which are the second ones that are right here, are right in the ears. So it's very much encompassing. I'm going to use a different color. It very much encompasses this ear area here and just behind it. And then also has two very deep corresponding spots here on the forehead. So those sternal ones, or the clavicular ones that are found out here, if we look at them, they correlate almost exactly onto that Sanjiao meridian, which we can see goes right into the ear. And again, remember that it generalizes out into that area and then goes up into the forehead and would probably refer to, almost this anterior here as well. Remember that again, the meridian is the line here is the specific center. The generalization would expand a little bit wider outside of that. So here again we see, and again what we've got to do when we look at these meridians, or when we're doing the correspondences, is we've got to get out of that thought process of we're looking for exact measurements, although the trigger points and the acupoint are exact measurements on the muscle itself, because those are right there. But the referral zone is a little bit more generalized. Of course, when Janet mapped these, it's a generalized area, and so the meridian system, sort of covers the middle of that line, but it would, again, theoretically expand out into that. If I was doing trigger point therapy on an SCM and it caused a referral area that was slightly different than what it says exactly in the book, I wouldn't say it was wrong. I mean, the body's not wrong, right? So when we're looking at these, keep that in mind how we're doing those correlations. Stay tuned. We're going to work through some more muscles, subsequent videos.